Everybody. Oh, I forgot to put my necklace on. Get that back so you're not right in my face, all right? Just waiting for the crew to show up. Yeah, I wonder if anyone's gonna show. What do you think? Like, no, of course not. No one's gonna show. I don't have a secondary chat window up, so if you guys are in chat, then chat. Where's PXD? Where's everybody else? Let's get them in here. Talk about projects. Talk about the drone shorts. Talk about what we're doing. Anybody I know show up yet? They all just left. Just left. They always leave. They always leave me. They always check in and then they check right out. Where you at, PXD? I'll see it in the chat. I'm doing the vertical, but I'm using the front cam this time, so it's like a little bit different for me. Sit back, though, don't worry. Waiting for people to come out. It sounds like some other people are coming in. I might know. If they use the chat, I'll know. But basically, I was here to talk about kind of like the flight plan that I was going to do tomorrow. It's supposed to be raining, but I'm going to go out with three control. Well, 2 sets of 3 control group batteries for the drone, the latest short that you guys saw, and we've got 3 1500 milliamp. Is that going to? I have no idea what that means, but anyway, I've got three control batteries for the 1500 milliamp and 3 controls for the 800 milliamp. Do I know Jenny? Why do I feel like that's a setup? No, I'm here talking about drone projects, stuff I'm doing in the shop, and basically just catching everybody up on what's going to happen over the next couple days. Yeah, see, we kind of knew that was coming. Clever, though. I like it. Humor. It's good to have humor, you know? I'm not like one of those people who, like, if you come in here and, like, drop jokes like that or whatever, I'm not going to be, like, getting on you and shit. I'm going to be like, hey, good on you. It was a good one. If I'd have fell for it. This is just a pipe tobacco. The good stuff's over here. I'll be hitting it. Not on camera, though, because I'm not someone who instigates stuff like that. Even though it's totally legal here, at least. View message. Let's see. I'll show that one. Clever. He thinks I'm fat. That's a good one. You could probably bench press your house, just so you know. I like the trolls. Love the trolls coming in. I love it. I love it. Guys, come on in. Come on in. Let's hear some more. Let's hear how many. I want to see the creativity in the insults. Still waiting for the crew to come in. I know they're going to jump in here anytime. We got stuff to discuss. Yeah, it's typically there's people that are negative. That's the way of the world, man. I ain't got a problem with it. Spout off. You got to spout off. You're behind a screen. You're safe. Ain't nobody said that shit to my face, though. Guaranteed. Hello from Malaysia. Malaysia, you sound like you are interested in content. So you can check out the rest of my channel if you wish. Even join the Discord if you like drones and 3D printing and CAD design and, you know, science-y stuff. Not so much putting Gorilla Glue in your hair and becoming a millionaire. You know. That is one of my designs in Fusion 360. That one is a 90 millimeter. And that one is a basically a water lander. I made it to where it could land on water and take off out of water using a vectored thrust port. Plus I've got the intakes on the top and the bottoms, plus the front, so that it can tread water being DC. So it's not going to burn out. And then everything else is waterproof, plus there's buoyancy points at the bottom of the actual body. And yeah, I just designed it. It almost looks like a Harrier wing design. Hey, Mr. Blue, how you doing? Kyle McGee, what's up? Oh yeah, the thrust vector control is the key, because I can pull the front of the plane out of the water, and then since it's ducked on the top, what'll happen is if it gets water locked at the front intake, it'll still pull air in through the top and kick me out of the water. So it's a lot of fun. Plus I put a skid on the rear landing gear, and then some TPU from, actually the new TPU, AMS TPU from Bamboo Lab. And then the front gear section is just like a hydrofin, so that it can kind of guide everything, keep it nice and straight in the water. And since that's TPU, it, you know, gives me some buoyancy on the tires. Also helps with getting in and out of the water. I have an X1 Carbon right now. I want the H2D now. I've had the X1 Carbon for like maybe a year, something like that. And then the H2D comes out, and I was like, you mother... You know, it's just like, I gotta get one of those. That's like, I want like all the stuff that comes with it too, like a kit, you know? I want to get that kit going so I can laser cut, do the vinyl cutting of the stickers and things like that. Is that a serious question? I'd have to say I have no idea. I'm not exactly sure. Ever tried it. Yeah, can't help you on that one, man. I'm not going to give you any medical advice either if you've already done it. Polycarbonate parts with good quality. Yeah, the P1S is sounding. I mean, I've seen it. The first one I ever got from Bamboo Labs was basically the X1C, and I didn't have a chance. I have a couple of subscribers that use the A1 Mini, and I haven't seen anyone talk about the PS1 or P1S. PS1, old school. But yeah, that's the P1S is and it's basically just the same design almost as the X1C, except for it doesn't. I mean, I'm assuming it's not in an enclosure, and or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What's the main differences on that one? Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. Do you use an AMS with it, or can you use an AMS with it? Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. The reason why I went with the X1C is because I needed that AMS. I definitely need that. And you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I started the first project I did, which was the Shrike concept drone, had um, been done on an Ender 3. So if you go and you see that, if you go to that playlist and you see the first one, it's the one with the white body early on, and it was a quad 70 millimeter EDF drone, which people thought was quite impractical, but it was a concept for a bigger project. So, and that's the stubby fan, the turbine that I'm working on. There's a list for that, and then the Mach 1 project. That's all kind of integrated together, and then the heavy lift drone. You know what? I was trying to use PVA that they sell for that, but I can't get it to extrude the right way. I've tried dry cycles and all that other stuff, and it just extrudes too thin, and the walls just kind of collapse. I don't understand what's up with it. Um, it's the kind of thing where I'm thinking I'm going to have to, say the heck with their presets and kind of just raise the, extrusion multiplier, and just see how it goes. You kind of have to fine tune it. ASA arrow, never could get it to work properly. PLA arrow worked great though. I could get that to work good. Well, that's sorry to hear that, Wayne. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, it's for the streets. That's right. She done made you in the bus, and then she freaking had you in the bus, and then she probably left you in the bus. Probably didn't leave you with a fucking transfer. Just here. See you later. Oh shit. I am up late, yes. And I'm not gonna be up much longer, but I'm glad you made it in. I've been having a good time talking to Kyle and a couple people coming in, saying some funny shit. You know how they do. So I was here talking about kind of what we were gonna do, possibly tomorrow, weather permitting. We're supposed to be getting some rain, but if the rain's light, I'll still take it down to the baseball field where I've completely fucked up every other plane that flew, and I'll fly there, and then I'm gonna take 3 of the 1500 milliamp 4S, and then 3 of the 800 milliamp 4S. And we're going to kind of time them and see how they do. I'm not sure if these batteries are in the best condition. I have used them for a lot of testing. So, yeah. Those batteries have been through a lot. But, yeah, I just wanted to jump on and tell everyone what the plan was. So, tomorrow I'll probably head out there. I wish I could do it live out there, but there's just no signal out there. There's no cell signal or nothing. You get out there, nothing. So I had like the Baofeng radio and stuff in the car just in case. I get on, and I'll get on an emergency channel if I need to. I don't even think I've ever heard that one. I'll have to look it up. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, that X1 carbon, I just followed the steps when I did the calibration after I got it open. Never have to freaking bed level again. That's 90% of why you're already, if you have to do a print again, that's 90% of the time. It's just didn't stick to the bed or warped or whatever. I'm telling you right now, I love the fact that I do not have to even bother with the bed leveling on that printer. I'm doing well. Gold Mask, how are you? Wayne, come on. You couldn't have thought of a better one in the past 5 minutes? Yeah, totally Kamal's for it, right? Yeah, don't worry about it, Angel. It happens all the time. Yeah, the X1 is like, if you follow just the setup and then do the calibration and then you updated the firmware if you have to, basically that thing is just hands free for the most part, especially when you're running the AMS and you've got 4 rolls of filament in it. You just set it up and go, and it's just, there's just nothing to it. But yeah, Mark's gone. I think Wayne's taking his spot. I don't even know what that emoji is, dude. I'm wearing freaking bifocals, okay? And then these screens ain't getting any bigger. So I'm either gonna have to freaking spell that shit out or just leave it up there as a fucking blur to me, because I can't see shit. There's other reasons why things are a little blurry. That's sitting over there. Yeah, that's true. Hold on. Batteries. One down, 4 to go. Then we'll have the batteries we need for the tests tomorrow. Alright. I bet you do. Yeah, that's called print anxiety. You go to lay down and you're like, I can't go to sleep. I gotta watch this thing and make sure it finishes. Yeah, that was me on the Ender 3, which I still have, but I'm not really using that much at all, except to run stuff that you normally can't run through the AMS on the X1, and that's just like standard GPU and a few other filaments. Because they have an AMS TPU, which is really a new filament unto itself. It does have some give, not as much as standard TPU prints, but it's much more rigid. But damn, it's got some layer bonding strength. I'll give it that. You can't pull that stuff apart. You just can't. And if you're printing like 3-4 wall thick, something like that, you can make pressurized fittings with that stuff. It's that. I think the TPU for the AMS was like an apology for ASA Aero. You know what I mean? But you win some, you lose some. They made one good filament, I mean, really, really well, and then the ASA was just a total disaster. So, yeah. But, anybody else have any questions about any of the other projects going on or anything like that? No more trolls? Wayne, we're still waiting for you to throw something out there. Internet probably skipped out on me again. The hell does it even mean? Hey, what's going on, Fender? What does it even mean, man? Oh man. I mean, I'm with you on that one. You know. So people pop in with some of the strangest stuff I've ever heard in my life. Oh, you're referring to this. I gotcha. Sorry, I'm a little bit, not inebriated. I am, however, partaking and enjoying it. Yo, fun. What's up? Oh, you want me to fly it right now? Like, man, you guys, I keep trying to charge batteries. I fly it live I did fly it live last time. Oh, you guys gonna make me do it, huh? All right. Hold on a second. We'll get it set up. All right, we'll set you right there. Give me a minute. Let me get the radio on. I knew Fun was probably gonna pop in and be like, "Fly the drone." All right, so we'll do that. I got you. Yes, I know. Switch warning. Switch warning. Oh, all right. Are we ready? Fun? You all strapped in? No pun intended. Now let the motors cool down. So they don't heat soak. If I don't let them cool down by doing this, they'll heat soak. So hope you're happy now. Hey, it was fun for me too. Give me a second and I'll shut it down. Gotta let it cool. Did you like that, Fender? All right, let me go put this away. Let's put the dip to bed. All right. I'll be right there. I gotta charge my batteries again. I have to charge everything back up. And that is the fun part of my job. Actually, that doesn't. I have to weigh it to be certain, and it'll vary depending on the pack. But the cost to build it was literally one SpeedyBee F405 V3. The 4 Tornado motors, I salvaged them off of an older drone. This was basically a spare parts in the garage kind of build. And I just went into Fusion 360 and designed a drone around it. And then printed it out on the X1 Carbon. In about 2 days, I had a drone. The only thing I had to wait for in the interim of actually designing, printing, and building was just a delivery of the filament. So I was out. Yeah, that twirls like it's pirouetting almost. It's like the most crass gracefulness I've ever seen in my entire life, right? Yes. Well, I don't know about max altitude. I may set a test. I'm probably going to go out tomorrow. The weather is probably it's going to be maybe a little cloudy, a little bit of rain, but I'm gonna go out there and test it. and to the field where I go. And it'll be a video. It won't be a live for the simple reason I don't have signal out there. So, um, as soon as you turn out of town here, it's just there's just no unless you have Starlink, you're screwed. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna take it out more than likely tomorrow, and I'm gonna do 3 batteries. Throw two sets of three 1500 milliamp 120Cs, and three 800 milliamp ADCs. And we're gonna see the performance distance, the max speed I can get on those props. It might be just way too heavy to go really, really fast, but I know I can, the trick is taking it from angle mode to acro, because that's where I'm still learning, is in the acro mode. So I got to download Liftoff, and I plug up my TX16X to the computer, and I can actually practice the acro. But I think once I get comfortable with it, then we're gonna hit 90 degrees and just punch it. It would, yeah. If I pushed it, it would climb pretty fast. Wind shear is really the only thing I'm worried about with the smallest of props. But again, this was a garage a parts build where it was just kind of, I had the stuff lying around, and I have Fusion, and I can design something pretty quick. Don't have to be completely, perfect in its design, but it's working. Another strange question. I never would be a rat. So here's your answer to that one. How could I ever be a rat? What would you do if you're a rat? If you can't answer your own question, I couldn't possibly answer yours. How, okay. First off, the answer doesn't make sense to the question. You asked me what I would do if I was a rat. So I asked you, and you said, I don't know. Reincarnation? So, reincarnation isn't an action that can be taken. It's a theory that some people have, just so you know. Just throwing that out there. You would run in fear from your cats. Hop on a drone and fly 300 miles per hour. See, that would be the option right there. That I think would be the best option, to be honest with you. Get away on the drone. A lot of people ask me why I call it the Dill drone. And to be perfectly honest with you, I had designed it to be sort of a high-speed drone built, like I said, out of garage parts. And people, I've seen a lot of high-speed drones that are designed like that. They were chasing NASCARs with them and stuff like that. Do a backflip. Not in the garage, dude. I am nowhere near qualified on the acro side for that yet. I'm getting there. Greetings from Iceland. Well, greetings, Iceland. Wonderful to have you here. I always wish I had the opportunity to check out Iceland. Kangaroo rat? Your cat's playing with one? That's kind of odd. The Rocket Nerd. Hey, what's up? Wow. Someone got into the wine early, looks like. You shouldn't play with your food, right? Noah Stewart, what's up, American friend? Hey, how you doing, Noah? You should have had the wine. Oh, gosh. I'm a tad bit dizzy. You're getting tired? Of anything specific or just in general? Oh, man. You know what's funny? When you have low blood sugar, or like, I'm told I have ADHD. I don't know. But I could drink 2 rock stars and a cup of coffee and sleep like a baby. Caffeine has the opposite effect on me. And then, but it's cool though because it makes me really lightweight when it comes to cannabis. You know, we're here in California, so you know they're charging high dollar for it when you go into a dispensary, and it's a little tiny, like little thumbnail worth. I'm just like done. I got a question for that drone that you just did. Is it possible to build with an EDF? Oh, hell yeah, and I am. You're already thinking that the same thing I am right now. I actually have decided to do it in 90 millimeter motors. And it's going to be as close to the one from Austin Powers as I can get. I'm going to model it as close to I can get to that. So when people are saying there's a UFO in the sky, you're going to look up and you're going to see it. I am going to make that a reality, plain and simple. Yeah, California weed is expensive, but I'm a lightweight, so I can buy like just a little pack of it, which is what is it, like 7 grams or something like that. That'll last me the whole month. What's up, Rocket Nerd? I mean, no such thing as too many motors, right? I mean, we do whatever we want, right? But I figure 4 EDFs, and then sort of in the same platform as the Dill drone, but the idea is I would make it like Dr. Evil's rocket, where 2 EDFs would be within, 2 sacks. And then I would try to accurately depict what the rocket looked like from the movie. That would be funny as hell. I was thinking about doing a hex EDF. I actually have a Tarot hex distribution board. But the reason why I use it is because EDF draws so much current, you have to make sure that you have, if you're running 70s, you're going to be pulling 80 times 4 max amps. You always want to be over that. So I use the APD 500X when APD was selling to the consumer market, but they're not anymore. They've gone commercial. But it was a 500 amp power distribution board that was small. And the Taro is huge. Its ability to distribute that many amps is based solely on the wire gauge and how it's built. There's no chipsets on the board. It's just straight signal through to the ESCs. I'm gonna go with analog ESCs anyway, because I don't mind D-Shot and stuff like that, but you can do the same thing with analog. And it doesn't make much difference with EDF either. So, yeah, while D-Shot's great for racing drones, things like that, analog is it's an analog signal. That's what you want. You want an analog signal so you can test the sine wave patterns, if you really want to tune the thing. Well, now you already know, you put the idea in my head. Now I have to do the Dr. Evil rocket with some EDFs. But I have done an EDF drone. So if you think about it this way, it's the same engine mount or pattern. Like you saw the Shrike concept drone in my playlist. And if you watch the V10 Maiden video, that was a 70 millimeter quad. And that's an EDF quad. And I'm running a 6,000 milliamp battery pack to keep up with the amp draw at 70 millimeters. At 90, the amps drop. So it makes it easier. So the bigger fan, the better. And that's why I designed a 170 millimeter fan, which is sitting over on the table over there. That big, huge fan, the red and black one sitting over there that you all know about. Can you zoom in on this thing? Yeah, you can. So those are the two fans there. Those are 170 millimeter 22 blade high pass fans that I will be using for another drone build. And that'll carry 220 pounds. Completely 3D printed, except for the bearings and the motor, obviously. And the 4-to-1 gear ratio box planetary gear system that I made. I'm going to have that CNC. It works 3D printed, but I need a CNC. And that's running an actual 77. It's a Flip Sky motor. It's actually a motor that's designed for a skateboard. It's running 48 volts through a 12S, 5 to 12S ESC. It's a Fly Dragon, Fly Color one, 120 amp. So I'm pushing 48 volts through a 75 volt motor that gives 60 horsepower. And the reason for that is because the other one I had, the 6370, was a 48 volt motor. So I could peak it out on the amps, and it would start to develop a lot of heat. Not a lot, but enough to where I knew that the reliability of it was I wanted to go up. So I dropped the kV by 80, went with a 110 times 48, 480 volts, or 480 on the RPMs, right? So, or 4,800, sorry. And then you times that by 4, and that'll be your RPMs at the fan. And that's a 7070 60 horsepower motor that can handle 75 volts. But if you're only pushing 48, you can put some amps through the motor without overheating it, which is what I'm trying to do, to avoid. But the fan's a 170 millimeter 22 blade high pass. modeled after the Pratt & Whitney high-pass fan for the SR-71 Blackbird. So basically, that's the fan that I'm using to make an electric EDF, and that puts out roughly 55 pounds of thrust. And the idle is about 11.5 amps or so. So, I mean, not idle, half throttle. It was only pulling 11.5 amps. And then that was on the 190 kV motor, so the bigger one is going to probably give us, less amp draw. Because I'm losing a few RPMs, but 36,000 RPMs is impractical for that blade. It's PETG. It can handle 25 to 28,000 RPMs, which is what I've pushed it to. The PLA version blew up in my hands. But I had run that fan a lot. So, Stubby version 1. I'd run that fan a lot. And I put it through a lot of stuff. To the point where it was literally eating its own bearings. Or not bearings, but it was like eating the motor was an 850 kV that I was pushing it with. Standard turbo, running at 22.2 volts. And it was getting so hot, I guess, after I would run it, that I really didn't pay attention to it. So until the magnets started actually coming out of the motor and getting chewed up by the mount, and it would spit pieces of the magnet, like you'd see sparks flying into the fan. And there's a couple of videos of it on here. And but I mean, it lasts. Those turbo motors from Amazon, that's the brand is Turbo. They're built pretty good for an inexpensive kind of off brand motor. They're built really well. Because I still have a 650, and that 650 kV is what blew up Stubby Fan version 1. I mean, it blew it up. I was holding it onto the table because I had the other 2 turbines on the rack. And because I was holding it down and testing it, I pushed up the throttle. I'm trying to hold it steady. And then that kV, because I had dropped the timing on the ESC from 15 to 11.5, it opened up a lot more torque in that 650 kV. And it just blew that fan apart. But it was a PLA fan. The PETG seems to be a lot more rigid. And but I've noticed the difference between like a Creality PETG and the PETG formula that Bambu Labs uses is there's a lot more rigidity in the Bambu Labs version. Their PETG is it prints really a lot smoother, especially the translucent stuff. This is the clear stuff. It basically, I don't know what it is about it. It has better layer bonding. It has than Creality and stuff like that. Creality is good. I haven't blown up that fan that I have up there with it yet, but the black and PETG one is the one that I did with Bambu Labs materials, and it is higher quality. I can tell you that. Well, I haven't tried standard ASA yet. I had the misfortune of working with ASA Aero for the purpose of doing airframes, and that never worked because the way the setup was, I don't know what it is. You couldn't stop it from oozing at all, so it would just be a big mess. But standard ASA, if it's stronger than PETG but still has flexibility, I'm willing to give it a shot. I wouldn't do it with Nylon 6 because Nylon 6 is pretty hard to print. A fan of that scale, but it's also not as flexible as the PETG. And you do need some flex in those blades. And the PETG that you get from Bambu Lab, it's just all around that fan, every blade can twist literally 80 degrees. 100 degrees, and it'll go right back to shape without cracking. There's no, you know, stresses on the blades internally, because if you let, like with the X1 Carbon being an enclosed printer, if you let it cool down to room temperature on its own, it tends to sort of anneal it, so that it relieves the stresses. It normalizes the material, just like you would with when you're forging a blade. And it releases the stresses that are in the material that after it's been extruded. So you let that chamber cool down to room temperature before you remove it from the plate, and it increases the strength. It increases it remarkably. If you're really looking for some super heavy duty bonding and some strength, run it through a 12-hour drying cycle before you go to bed or whatever. Get up in the morning, then reload the PLA or the PETG into the machine. Make sure your AMS desiccant packs are good, and then print it freshly dried, and then let it anneal afterwards. The plate will drop, let it anneal. Don't open the door, none of that stuff. Just leave it on the plate, let it anneal by itself, and it will increase the strength of that PETG. Because I was even told, to take nylon 6, print with nylon 6, but take it out and put it in the oven at a couple of 100 degrees for 45 minutes or so, and let it relax, let it anneal. And so while I haven't done that yet, because I do have a heated chamber, so I can get it up to the temperatures I need to anneal it. And typically the heat that's generated by the printing process itself heats the chamber up to the point where you got 41C, 42C, stuff like that. So you can just leave it in there after the print's done, and it'll do a good job of annealing anything you print to make it a little bit more flexible, a little bit more durable. I'd recommend doing that with any of the materials that you use, just because it's a good practice. If you're in a hurry, you don't have to, but it's a good practice, especially when you're using mechanical parts that are going to be under stress. You want to make sure that they are performing optimally. So consistent chamber temperature, and then let it cool naturally over time. And it doesn't take more than an hour or two, to get back down to room temperature. So if you're not in a rush, and you want a mechanical part to have a little bit more strength, just let it naturally anneal in the chamber. And that's my experience with successful fans and blowing up fans. And if you check out any of the stubby fans or the twins, things like that, I went through a lot of different stuff. I burned up a bunch of motors, had ESCs blow up on me. But I made for some good content and good data. So yeah, and it came in handy. Collected a lot of data over the past year, just doing this, getting to know iNav from the very beginning, understanding the SpeedDB, the differences between SpeedDB and ArduPilot and iNav and things like that. Wood PLA is cool, and I like the fact that you can sand it a little bit. And if you print it something in the proper orientation, you get that kind of, especially rounded objects, you get that sort of wood pattern in it, just from the layers. So that's pretty cool. It smells good when you're printing it too. It smells like a campfire. So yeah, those would be good for making mounts and stuff like that, or if you're making like a custom box or something for somebody that you plan on sanding, or it'll accept a stain to a degree. I have tried it, and it will accept a stain to a degree, but because it's just got wood particles in it, um, the PLA, it doesn't stain, but the wood particles it will. So if you get a high quality wood filament, then yeah, it'll stain pretty easy. Especially if you sand it. And do a light sanding. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Depending on how it was printed, you get to see those layer lines. Really, the lower resolution kind of makes it look more like wood. So it's like if you took the fang and laid it on its side and then printed it that way, and then did just a standard, 2-layer height, you would get that kind of wood grain look as each one of the layers got up to a steeper bank, which makes it look more authentic. But about 5 minutes, I'll be wrapping it up here. But tomorrow, like I said, I will be doing some flying of the Dill drone with the 3 batteries, the 2 sets of 3. And we're going to see how it performs, see if it survives what I put it through. It'll be a video that I put up probably that night or the following day, because I'll have to bring it into Premiere and edit it, because it won't be a vertical. It'll be your standard 16:9 aspect ratio. So it's just too bad I can't go live out there, because that would be more fun, I think. And then we're gonna, we'll see what happens. It should be a fun video. Hopefully it lasts longer than I expect it to. I get through all the batteries, doesn't get too hot, and then we'll see what happens. But so that's what we're gonna do. So expect a video for that. And if you're new here, please join the Discord. You can talk about things there. There's if you're interested in printing, if you're interested in projects, you can go there. I have a couple links in the bio for Patreon. I have a Facebook you can join. I have a Buy Me a Coffee link if you're feeling giving. And because I put all that back into buying, materials for the projects that I bring to the channel. So there's that. There's also a link there for bread. Sorry, I said it again. I said it backwards. Breakfast in Bread. And that's where I got the bitter coffee for bitter people. Really good stuff. They've got some shirts there. They have cups. They have coffees and other breakfast items that you can choose from. It's a really cool site. So go check it out. He's supported me in the past and sent me some really good coffee and an awesome cup. I'm also going to be putting out my own cups for Stubby Fan. So check out that playlist. The reason for that is because it was kind of a big project for me. So it deserved a cup. It deserves some merchandise. And then, I'll have stuff eventually once I get a site built, because I tried to sell these on Etsy a couple times, but they kept saying I violated their policies. I have no idea why. They never explained it to me, never gave me the revenue I made, shut my whole account down. Tried to open another one, thought I did it wrong or something, or I missed something. They shut me down again, kept my revenue. So, yeah, we won't be dealing with Etsy anymore. I tried to contact him through Instagram, which I guess was the only way you can, and no answer. Completely ignored me. So yeah, I'll never work with them again. And yeah, so they just take your money. If they don't like what you're doing, they just shut you down, take your money. And from what I looked it up, and from what I've read, I'm not the first that they've done that to, where they've shut a shop down and just took the money. So yeah, no, I'll get my own site up, and then I'll have some merch out there. You can also find, if you're interested in the Shrike concept drone, you can find a components list and a STL file group there in the shop. And to replace the APD board, you would have to either find someone who had an APD 500X or an equivalent power distribution board that you could put in the place of where it had the power distribution board on the drone. And then you could run a 70 millimeter EDF running a 6,000 milliamp pack, which is fun to fly around. A lot of people are like, well, that's not fast enough. And I'm like, well, that's because it's an angle mode. They say it's impractical, but like I said, it's concept drone. So there's a lot, more going on behind the scenes. That was really a data collection exercise on a specific flight controller and how it interacted with EDFs. So, that was me getting used to iNav and gyro filters, PID settings, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I thought it was funny when I got people coming in there critiquing it, going, there's a such thing as constructive criticism, and then there's just insults because you can't do it. So I run into that a lot. So, chair's killing my back. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and then be looking for that video. Like I said, thank you all for stopping by. I enjoyed the trolls did stop by, and they never stick around too long because shit don't bother me for the most part. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I have no idea who it is. I'm not sure. Is that shorthand for something? The last word in your sentence? I'm just, no disrespect, I just don't understand what you're saying. You want to translate for me before I end the stream for the night? No answer, just, that's it. Come on, you gotta have something better than that. I always love waiting for these. No answer. Okay. Well, all right. Well, you had your opportunity to explain what you were asking me. Well, I ain't surprised. Nothing? Okay. All right. I didn't think so. All right. Well, you all know what's going on over the next couple days, so I'll be looking for another video for that drone. And one last thing I asked you about recently is sanding the surface, expanding the PLA, and then painting a thin coat of fiberglass resin. It's not a bad idea, actually. I might do that for, strengthen some of the smaller drone parts. It's a good idea. Thank you for that one. I'll keep that one the back of the filing cabinet, you know what I mean? Because the only way I get to sleep is designing stuff in my head. Or listening to like physics books or whatever on Audible. It's the only way to really calm the head down, you know. I will try that for sure. Is it like something you got a brand name on it? I'll check it out. Make sure I get a good one. Like what brand do you use? Well, I'll just look for one. Oh, I gotcha. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I'll look up some different resins, see if I can't give them a shot in the next week or so, and see if I can't make some good suggestions. See, that's what I need right there, because that's what I built the MPCNC for back there. That's what the plane's sitting on. I 3D printed a 3-axis CNC to make molds so I could basically do fiberglass bodies for the 170 millimeter turbines, because I plan on doing an SR-72 Darkstar that I plan on breaking the sound barrier with. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say, but with the thrust output of these motors, it'll be one of the first 3D printed aircraft that breaks the sound barrier, I hope. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking. No, maybe I haven't seen them. I've seen a couple of guys doing Harriers, but they get the big Schuler fans in there, but those things are like $5,000. I'm trying to do stuff you guys can build with components off the shelf, you know, like off Amazon, and then supplying you the NSTLs once I get everything done, so that you guys can, you know, build your own fan for whatever project you want to do. Build a big F-35 or whatever. But yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. I said I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I said I'd build a drone out of stuff in my garage, and I did. You know. So I try to keep my word on the channel, as long as it's within my capabilities to do so. So, but thank y'all for stopping by. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. It's gonna get pretty exciting over the next couple months. And again, thank you all for stopping by. Even the trolls, you're all welcome. It helps the algorithm. So, okay. Yeah, do that. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here, and I will see y'all again next time. Have a good night.